everyone, welcome back to this course on ESD. So, in the last class we are discussing about the technical and vocational skills training and the green jobs, green curriculum, green campus, everything. So, continue with this. Now we will discuss about little bit more about the jobs, the 21st century jobs and how to prepare ourselves for the 21st century jobs. So, the nowadays the 21st century competencies are required for the global and decent jobs. So, along with the TVET there are also some 21st century jobs, job competencies, that is for example, that is along with sustainability competencies, it is about communication skill, collaboration skill, then problem solving skills, then project management skills, all kinds of skills are there. Of course, all these skills are already embedded within the technical and vocational education training framework. It is already embedded there along with the sustainability. So, how to prepare ourselves for the 21st century jobs, decent jobs. So, here we can say that sustainability to be embedded in the educational content that we have already discussed, and how green TVET, green technical and vocational, has been embedded in the whole institution approach. That means embedded in the not only in the content, but in the pedagogy, in the campus, in the curriculum, in the policy, in everywhere. So, that is the whole institution approach, how TVET can be adopted and embedded. So, this would help the actually to encourage the people to understand their social, technological, ecological and political environments. So, from which they can find out that what are their priorities, what are their priorities, how to prepare for the different types of jobs, how to go for green skills and competencies, how to embed these green skills competencies with the sustainability competencies, and to prepare ourselves for the global 21st century global jobs. But now in this global context, the jobs are not restricted to any particular geographical area or any particular country or continent. So, it is overseas, almost all the things are overseas, and with this online platform, so it has immense applications, like it has to be that means global in the true sense, in the sense that there is no geographical boundary, there is no ethical bias, there is no communication barrier, there is no technological barriers. So, across all the domains we have to come out of this thing, and we have to prepare ourselves ready for this 21st century jobs, decent jobs, global jobs, with all the types of competencies. Along with the job competency, we have to have the generic skills competency, then we have to have these virtual competency, the sustainability competency. So, that means we have to begin with the fresh thinking style, fresh paradigm, that means how to get ready for these virtual jobs, for these green jobs, for these 21st century global jobs. So, this is the thing. Similarly, now we can go for another domain, that is a sustainable entrepreneurship. So, with the 21st century in innovations, emphasis on the innovations and applications for the social benefit, social impact, and sustainable development goals. So, sustainable entrepreneurship. Now, so many startup companies have been promoted, have been started since last few years. So, and these startup companies are primarily being promoted to boost SMEs, that is small scale entrepreneurship, and moreover to the service sector. So, that is for how the entrepreneurship can also be sustainable. So, sustainable entrepreneurship is often used as a broad term, which may include all kinds of combinations of social entrepreneurship and NGO work, ecopreneurship, that is the customer focused on the eco products, intrapreneurship, that is the sustainable innovations, so then customer satisfaction, then the green skills and competencies, then the zero carbon footprint, then green marketing, then customer satisfaction, all kinds of things that comes under this sustainable entrepreneurships. That means it includes it covers almost all the domains, including the social entrepreneurship, including the eco-friendly entrepreneurship, including the intrapreneurship, that is the more sustainable innovation related things. So, how to promote the sustainable entrepreneurship? As you can see from the picture, it includes almost everything, starting from the AI to the product, to the technology, to the energy, to the climate change, to the infrastructure, everything. So, how to promote the sustainable entrepreneurship with the green skills, green jobs and technological green TVET training and programs. So, then we can go for how to educate our people for the sustainable entrepreneurship. So, according to UNESCO, education for sustainable development, that is ESD, empowers people to change the way they think and the work towards sustainable future. So, ESD's primary job is to disseminate information and generate the awareness among the people, all categories of stakeholders, that is how to empower them the thinking style, thinking pattern, a new way of thinking about the future, about the sustainable future. So, how to change that mindset, how to change that thought process, how to change that conceptual framework, that is the primary job of ESD. Then how to again here now how to educate people regarding sustainable entrepreneurship. So, therefore, ESD requires a dynamic and participatory learning method. Dynamic and participatory learning method means the educators, they get the learners empowered and motivated through to the know-hows, know whys, know where, all kinds of the reasoning, all kinds of the logistics behind everything, so to develop the competencies. That is why we are promoting all these higher order thinking process like critical and integrative thinking and practice, then problem solving skills, then all kinds of things. So, critical and integrative thinking and practice, that is the envisioning the change and the future scenarios, achieving transformation and making the decisions together. So, here we are not only promoting the sustainability competencies through higher order thinking skills like changing the mindset, being inquisitive, being curious, being critical, being innovative, and how to blend, how to integrate the different kinds of ideas and knowledge into the practice, and envisioning the future. These are some of the new approach, Here the focus is more on to bring the transformation, not only in our performance, not only in our knowledge and practices, but also in the society. So, here the focus is on more on transformative education. Whatever skill training, whatever skills and competency we are giving, it must have that quality of transforming from one situation to another situation. That is, when we are visualizing the future, the sustainable future or future world, then this transformative education pattern, transformative pedagogy should be there along with the green competencies, green skills, etc. So, we have to boost the not only the mindset and thinking style, but also we have to enhance the higher order thinking process like the critical thinking, creative thinking, then analytical thinking, then creative, then that means innovative approach, then practice, then reflective thinking, all kinds of pedagogical thinking approach should be included in the transformative education format in the curriculum framework. So, that it is not only having the green approach, eco-friendly approach, but at the same time it also focuses on bringing complete transformation in our curriculum, in our output, in our performance, so that it can have a big impact on the social and environmental development, socio-economic development as well as the environmental development. So, therefore, sustainable entrepreneurship, they conceive the social and environmental problems primarily as a new business opportunities. So, when we talk about the recent challenges or immediate, that is the current challenges that we are facing right now, like pollution, then climate change, then energy scarcity in the energy sector, then this kind of natural disaster, pandemic like kind of disasters, and also the skilled manpower. It is very difficult to get the skilled manpower, that means developing the competencies among the human resources, then financial resources, then all kinds of things. So, here identifying any of the social problem that we are facing, suppose energy crisis, suppose it is climate change, suppose it is the problem of waste management. So, we can take up, the entrepreneurs can take up any of the social problem as an opportunity, as a new business opportunity. So, that is why nowadays so many startups have come up in the service sector, like how to make the particular process or activity or the practice very smooth, very eco-friendly, very user-friendly, and very and with the technology, and with the, of course, with the technology. So, how it can be it can be delivered with minimum time, minimum effort, and in a very cost effective way. So, that is that all the startup entrepreneurs, they must focus on the social problems, on the current social problems primarily as a new business opportunities, and with their entrepreneurial activity, and they can contribute the social, ecological, economic developments for other society. So, it is also relevant for all education curriculums, for the research activities also, because whatever research we are doing right now, be it science, be it social science, be it humanities, whatever, it must have a direction towards the society. It must have a direction towards towards having the positive impact in our environment, in our economic system, in our social sector. That must be the focus of any kind of entrepreneurship, any kind of research, any kind of human activity or educational activity that we are engaging ourselves. So, here so in the sustainability MDPI journal is a very prominent journal, very popular journal, very famous journal, MDPI journal in the sustainability. There all these issues, it is a regular journal. There you can find all these issues, entrepreneurship, sustainability competencies, green jobs, there you can find out. So, you can go through this YouTube link website later on. So, next then here another thing is that whether the outcome is an eco-innovation sustainable startup, or the project entrepreneurial thinking and acting starts with the motivated individuals in their ideas. So, here not just the outcome, not just the end product that is related to eco-innovation or sustainable startup or entrepreneurial thinking, but also from the start, from the beginning itself, the individuals must be motivated with their inner with their intrinsic motivation, with their passion, with their focus, with their dedication, for having an innovative idea that focuses more on the social reform, social transformation, economic reforms. So, for this reason, so in order to identify, evaluate in this kind of sustainable business opportunities, the sustainable entrepreneurs, they must also focus, they must also go through certain processes, they must acquire certain ideas, certain knowledge process. They have to do some homework in this knowledge domain, in the resource domain. For example, so they are in need of specific knowledge. For example, they want to do something on waste management, or maybe some lean manufacturing. So, they have to have this again the knowledge about the detailed things, the manufacturing, the process, the logistics, the finance, the everything, design, all kinds of things they have to have gained the knowledge. So, specific knowledge about knowledge of the natural environment, for instance, like the active involvement of sustainable actions to improve the sustainability of products, process and services, and in which location they are going to start. Last classes also we have discussed about the context is important, then we have to identify the need assessment of the local people, their strengths, their weaknesses, the resources available. So, for any kind of startup business also, entrepreneurship also, the entrepreneur, he has to acquire knowledge, gain knowledge, speak knowledge about not only the environment, but what would be the product, what would be its process, what would be its services, how it is going to have an impact on the society, and what are the skills, again moreover what are the skills required to interact and to be responsive stakeholder demands to fulfill, what are the skills required, the knowledge, the attitude, the skills which stem from the competencies of sustainable entrepreneurship. So, in sustainable entrepreneurship, it has n number of skills and competencies to begin with, to conceive an idea and plan properly and collect the information about its that means its dimensions, domains, and what are the required knowledge, what is the update technology available for that, and then where you are going to put it, apply it. So, then the location, the resources available, then moreover the people residing there, their requirements, their skills and competencies, how to leverage those kind of resources and manpower, how then again further how to train the manpower. So, it's a kind of huge task. So, we have to chalk it out, that means design it, we have to plan it accordingly, very that means in depth with all kinds of, even if the person does not have this expertise, he has to consult with other experts and do a real homework, that is the you can blueprint of the whole thing he wants to do. That is the in starting from the knowledge, attitude, skills and competencies to the resources available, to the mobilization of resources and the need assessment, and moreover with the passion and intrinsic motivation. Therefore, the field of entrepreneurship education also, like ESD, it is also related to, like ESD, this business entrepreneurship education also is very much related to business ethics, human resource management, all kinds of managerial competencies, tasks are also related, very much related to entrepreneurship education. So, definitely the entrepreneurs, they have to learn some of the basic things of the ethics, values, human resource management, as well as legal implications also, legal implications, then corporate laws also, like the CSR and other kinds of things. So, corporate laws, rules, regulation, to develop their own idea about the factors, learning environment and learning activities that which can contribute to the educational outcome. So, in the like in management also, suppose you have taken up the entrepreneurship as a specialization. So, your entrepreneurship education, this curriculum and content, it should include all aspects, especially for example, when we are studying this rural management. Rural management, suppose you are going to start a business and an industry and entrepreneurship program in the rural sector. So, how it should be, and in the rural sector how that means the peoples, because there you have to deal with the local residents. So, you have to learn about how to handle this, that means logistic to the human resource management skill, to the business ethics, legal implications, everything. Okay. So, now the modern working environments are a kind of hybrid environment, like hybrid, that means a combination of the virtual thing as well as with the help of technology, as well as partly physical environment. So, the in hybrid environment, again how to live the lab type of learning environment that enable the development of sustainable entrepreneurship. Like when we are going to teach educate the people regarding the practical things, practical the lab components are there, then in the hybrid environment how to teach, how to educate people regarding this kind of entrepreneurship education. So, sustainable entrepreneurship education from the perspective of learning in the professionals, for example, corporate social responsibility, employee driven innovations, or the workplace learning, or the virtual workplace, virtual business, e-marketing, all kinds of things. We have to educate the people in such a way that they will be familiar with, convenient with both the virtual, online physical as well as the hybrid environment. So, here actually the main problem in the sustainable entrepreneurship education is that whether we are doing it for profit or not for profit. So, that is the basic ethics, that means whether you are starting a business even if it is a social entrepreneurship. So, whether you are doing it for your own benefit or for the social benefits, that is the inherent tension, and that we have to sort it out, that we have to solve it. What is the moral, what is the value, what is the goal, basic goal behind it, what are your visions and missions. Yes, of course, you cannot run a business with a loss, but yes, with the minimum profit, like the cost effectiveness, then how can we bring that transformation, reform in the society. So, the inherent tension is there in sustainable entrepreneurship education, that is between the economic profit first logic or others first societal benefit first logic. Like in most of the business houses nowadays, even though their primary goal is the profit, but economic profit, etc., but at the same time they are also looking for the community well-being, community benefit, socio-economic benefit in terms of CSR, not only CSR activity, but also through the charity activities also. CSR is there, they have to invest certain amount in the social development, economic development, etc. But besides CSR also, some of the companies big companies are also investing in the charity funds, that is to deal with some kind of emergency situations like pandemic or any kind of disaster, etc. So, that kind of mindset can help us in developing a right kind of social entrepreneurship or the sustainable entrepreneurship platform. So, then comes so therefore, teaching eco-friendly entrepreneurship to local communities. So, side by side, whenever we are we are starting the business sustainable entrepreneurship or model in the particular locality, simultaneously also it becomes our responsibility to educate and train the people who are available, who are there in the local, staying in the local community, that local people, regarding the different kinds of skills, regarding the relevance of entrepreneurship, regarding that means regarding how it is going to change their lifestyle, how it is going to change their economic condition, financial condition, the whole system in the society. So, they have to engage in the mainstream, and they have to involve, they have to engage, and they have to train also from time to time, so that the local people can take up the ownership that yes, they think that it is for them. So, it is for them, hence they will invest their time, effort and skills in the company. So, in the company. So, it will, so how to start the business, with taking into account or taking all the local people together. So, that they will think that they will think that yes, it is our it is for our benefit, it is for our comfort, it is for our education, it is for our health facilities and etc. So, they will be engaged. So, engaging the local people by training them, by motivating them, by educating them, that is also another biggest challenge for the entrepreneurship. But with, I think with the good intention, with good value system, with positive attitude, positive thinking style, so an entrepreneur can do it. And if all of us we think in that way, definitely our society is going to be changed drastically. So, here the goal is to shape the new entrepreneurs based on the local specific and competitiveness in order to improve the economy of the community. So, here we have to educate them that yes, whatever we are doing, we are trying to uplift their economic condition, we are trying to enhance their quality of life, we are trying to give them some vocational skills training, and we have to create the real situation or real atmosphere like that. So, with more communication, with more awareness camps, with more workshops, etc. So, that you can say that they will see that local people will find it that yes, all these activities are there to improve the economy of the community. So, the method creates a real life learning curve. So, here you can say real time situations, we can, when we talk about suppose in research also, when we conduct some kind of action research to get the immediate impact. Similarly, in entrepreneurship also we have to create a real life learning conditions, where the entrepreneurs has to give the focus on various vocational skills. Maybe that in the village community we can develop some kind of some local handicrafts, some kind of folk arts, then some puppetry, some sculptures, maybe that some freshwater fish farming, maybe some organic vegetables, maybe bamboo weaving, maybe wood carving. So, all kinds of things which are mostly recycled substances of the raw material. That means, the rural people, they can also be trained to do some kind of this kind of local vocational skills to not only to earn their livelihood, but also to restore, to revive the skills of our indigenous skills of indigenous people, local people. So, ministry also is also trying to capture these kind of things, and in our traditional knowledge system we are trying to restore it in terms of reviving our old skills, art, artistry, all kinds of handicrafts, etc. So that not only it gives a kind of opportunity for the people to meet their standard of living, to earn their livelihood, and but also to think innovatively. That means, it can also have an international market to sell out the products. So, therefore, the program employs a cooperative competitive strategies. That means, there will be the cooperative groups, different groups, they will work together, small groups work together. But yes, between the groups there may be some kind of competitive mindset, that is to stimulate the learners' team spirit. We are working in a group, but at the same time we are also competing with another group. So, for primarily to stimulate the learners or the participants team spirit, their motivation, and at the same time encouraging them encouraging them to familiarize with a healthy competition, not actually rivalry, but at the healthy competition. So, this kind of entrepreneurship training, that means along with the core domain knowledge, this kind of training can be given to the social entrepreneurs or the those who want to venture into the any kind of sustainable entrepreneurship model. So, this is the model, we can say the sustainable entrepreneurship model. As you can see, the whole, this is a learning cycle starting from the, say like for example, here we are starting from the prior knowledge and the focus attention towards the sustainability. It starts with observing the situation, starting like for example, being very vigilant about what is going on, what is happening in the society, and how to identify the right problem. That is, it may be out of, there may be 10 problems, but from out of this 10 problem, which problem to pinpoint, what has its relevance, what are the drawbacks, what is the impact, how serious this problem is. Then first thing is that we have to identify first the problem, social problem. Then the prior knowledge and the focused attention towards the sustainability, in the sense that how to resolve that, how this problem can be mitigated, challenge can be mitigated. So, we have to have some prior knowledge, focused attention towards the sustainability, that is sustainable mitigation of this thing. Then opportunity recognition, which aims to solve a sustainability related market failure. That means, suppose it is a business entrepreneurship, then opportunity to recognize which aims to solve the sustainability related market failure. That means, where are the gaps, where are the shortfalls, where are the shortcomings, where actually it has failed. Then motivation to solve the sustainability related market failure. It is an example of this market sustainable entrepreneurship business. Now, along with this, we can also think of a social entrepreneurship problem. So, motivation to solve the sustainability related to market failure, or maybe profit, or maybe loss, or the market loss, or the maybe the losing the customers, whatever may be the thing. Then address either environmental or social core objective of the startup. So, here when we are planning from the very beginning, so we have to focus on either social or environmental core objective. We have to take the either social impact or the environmental impact as the core objective of the startup. Then thereby gradually we are also moving towards its periphery, like other impacts. So, the business turns over a profit, secure business of the future and longevity. That means, yes, of course, whenever you are starting a business, definitely it must have a minimum profit to sustain and survive, but again how to secure it for the future, how to that means think about its longevity, in the sense that it will continue, how to make it sustainable, how to benefit the stakeholders, all categories of stakeholders, and cater to their needs. All these planning should also be added if we want to make it a long term project. Then address both the environmental and the social objective. Yes, even though it is the economical, it is a business profit, non-profit financial things are involved, maybe that it also helps people in creating the jobs, giving them the employments, etc. Even though you take care of the economic aspect, but at the same time we have to address the environmental and social objectives, that is the minimum depletion of the environmental resources and having the positive impact on the society. Then blending a balance between profit, planet and people. So, here out of this entrepreneurship, at the end definitely we have to analyze this cost effectiveness, and even though the profit or prosperity is there, prosperity should be more in terms of quality, in enhancing the quality of life of the people. And social impact, its social impact in terms of more awareness, more health facilities, more education platforms, then more techno savvy amenities, and the more energy sector, more energy, that means energy efficient things, and minimum carbon emission, minimum carbon footprint, all these things. So, how to maintain a balance between this profit, that means the profit and prosperity, the planet, that is the environmental ecosystem, to keeping it intact and sustainable, and the people, it is improving the quality of life of the people, lifestyle of the people, quality of life of these stakeholders. So, here the thing is that so the whole idea of this ESD or sustainable entrepreneurship or green skill is says that it has to be created in our thought process, in our consciousness, in our mindset, in our that means in our feeling, in our affective domain, in our you can say in our emotions, in our thoughts, in our actions. So, first of all, first thing is that how to realize it, how to internalize it, how to conceptualize. So, once it is done, then we can begin with, we can mobilize all the human resources. First thing was the concept of sustainability, the concept of ESD, the concept of social sustainable entrepreneurship, the concept of eco-friendly and green justice, everything has to be created in the people's mind first, in the thought process, in their paradigm of thinking, in the thinking style. Then from there they can feel it, this it is the urgency, it is the urgent, they are feeling, then come down to the feeling, emotion, because that motivates the people towards action. So, when we can think positively and feel positively, then definitely we are going to behave or act upon accordingly. So, then thereafter the action towards the green jobs, green skills automatically comes in. Then only we can feel that yes, actually it has been materialized, actually it has been realized in the real life context. So, thank you very much. So, in the next class we will discuss about something else related to ESD. Thank you.